If you're a football fan, you've probably read a comment like this hundreds of times. Why even bother buying the newest FIFA? They're all exactly the same. It can get annoying to read the same low effort comment this often, but with the hype for FC25 coming to quite high levels, it got me thinking, is it ever actually worth going back to play an old FIFA game instead of playing the newest one? It's not like other franchises where you might prefer the story or characters in a retro game. Surely the best FIFA will always be the most up-to-date one. Well, personally, I don't think so. If you've never gone back to play an old football game, in this video I'll be telling you exactly why you should give it a go. I'll also recommend some games that you should try if you've never played these older ones, and tell you why I actually enjoy playing certain games more than the most modern ones. So let's get started with probably the biggest hurdle to jump. How do you get over playing an out-of-date sports game? I don't mind not having up-to-date rosters, team kits and player ratings, but I can see why a lot of people would want those things in their sports games. It's nice to see the players that you watch in real life, but I think it's just as nice to see players like Bacary Sagna, Kaka or Andrea Pirlo for the first time in ages. I guess these days you could just play with icons in Ultimate Team, but it's not quite the same without the minor supporting casts that some of these teams had. Do you remember Julio César and Diego Milito? Well, without them, someone like Maicon probably wouldn't have become so legendary in the FIFA community. Having old squads isn't that bad. In fact, I'd say it's actually a positive to playing some of these older games. There's definitely a limit to this kind of nostalgia, where playing something like FIFA 23 in 2024 doesn't really have the same retro feel, while also still just feeling outdated. If you go back more than 5 years before you play a game, you'll know what I mean. It just feels a lot more satisfying than just going back 1 year. This argument totally collapses though if you're a solely competitive player. In that case, you will always need the newest games because they have the most players and the most updated gameplay and squads. But if you're like me and you just like playing kickoff and career mode, you probably won't miss out on as many features as you realise going back to some of these older games. Another reason that you might be interested in choosing a specific older game is for the unique modes that never returned. I'd say the most famous case of this is FIFA 17, 18 and 19, with each of them having one of the 3 chapters of the journey, which can only be played on these games. It's still a fun thing to play through, and it's still worth playing these games just for that mode, but it's also worth knowing that these 3 games also have some of the best gameplay in FIFA history too, so you should definitely give them a go in both career mode and also in the journey if you've never played that mode. Gameplay is definitely one of the most important things when it comes to playing older FIFAs. Before FIFA 23, I'd say every single game had a distinct style that can become quite hard to adapt to. For example, you might remember FIFA 14 for being famous for its crossing and heading. FIFA 19 had a lot of skill move spamming and dribbling was really overpowered. FIFA 13's long shots were actually unstoppable, while FIFA 15 was just all about pace. If you invest the £10 it costs to buy a physical copy of every one of the FIFA games of the last decade, you'll eventually find the gameplay that is perfect for you. For me, the perfect gameplay is on FIFA 17, but who knows, maybe you'll prefer doing croqueta spams on FIFA 19 instead. Just a word of warning though, while old FIFAs are still fun up to a certain point, they do start to feel really old around 2014. FIFA 15 is probably the oldest FIFA that I think is worth playing still, because after that, the physics and mechanics of older games start to totally fall apart. I played FIFA 11 a few months ago and it was nothing like football. It felt more like I was playing an ice hockey game, because players were just sliding around the pitch with the ball attached to their feet and it was just straight up not fun. Some games are just too old to enjoy. Another thing you should probably know before you buy any of these older games is that EA has helped to kill the fun of them by turning off a lot of their servers over the past 12 months. Until last summer, you could actually download FIFA 15 squad files, but as of this video uploading, every game up to and including FIFA 21 has been shut down. That means at the moment only FC 24, FIFA 23 and FIFA 22 have squad files that you can download. It's not just squad files that are dead, because you also can't use classic kits from the catalogue, and even things like restarting games has become unusable because the servers have gone down. It really does suck to have to play in squads that didn't have the most famous transfers or player improvements in from that season, and it just means that a lot of the game has been lost to time. I wish EA had kept the squad files server online just so things like FIFA 17's Mbappe was an 80 rated player, not a 71, or Jamie Vardy was trapped in the low 70s during Leicester's title winning side even though he was actually upgraded to be about a 79. If you're on PC, there are sites out there that you can grab the squad files from still, but console players aren't so lucky, you're just going to have to settle for the default squads. It's actually quite obvious when you look at some of the community posts over on Reddit or Twitter that FIFA doesn't really have the same retro appeal that Assassin's Creed or Total War or Legend of Zelda has, where you can still regularly see people playing games that are 15 years old. I do think that's a shame because despite FIFA being a yearly release, some of the older games are still more than worth playing. Personally, I'd recommend you give the 2010 World Cup game a go, mainly because of how ambitious it was with every country in the world being included. I'd also recommend you give FIFA 14 a go, mainly because how many icons were still active at the time. You had Ronaldinho, Rooney, Messi, Ronaldo, Del Piero, Totti, Drogba and Henry all signable inside career mode, despite them all being about 30 to 40 years old. I'd also suggest you try out the journey on FIFA 17 to 19, and if you want career mode, just go straight for either FIFA 17 or 19. They have the best gameplay, they have players like Haaland and Mbappe and Wonder Kids, they also have 99% of the features that FC24 has, and it's a bit of a shame we can't just play these retro seasons on the newer games, but at least we do have those seasons waiting for us on the old games. Hopefully you've been inspired to try out an older FIFA game, and if you haven't, let me know in the comments what you'd miss from FC24 that's stopping you from going back in time. I'm genuinely interested to find out what things you like in career mode, because a lot of the time it's very similar to what I think. Like I said earlier in the video, you can pick up most of these games for about £1, I'm sure they're probably $1 and €1 depending on where you are as well, so do give them a go if you have a console that can play older games. Thank you for watching this slightly different to normal video, but I've got a series coming out where I play some of these older games, so subscribe if you're interested in watching that. If you're not, check out the playlist and the video that's on screen right now, and I'll say thanks for watching, and goodbye.